Burgami. Break the vision, building perspective, issue dissect views, mindsets.
Those farmers, those marketers, processors and marketers still earn from agriculture, not only for themselves, but also for Nigeria.
On Burgami, the current affairs morning teaser on Vision FM 92.1, where Nigerians discuss Nigeria.
It's very sad. Even the places that have been demolished, they have been allocated to themselves. I can see crisis ahead of us.
There's something definitely wrong with our reward system, and that attracts corruption. How many Nigerians, civil servants, can today be able to put a roof over their head with the salary they are receiving?
Burgami, current, expository, daring.
Observing the trends of corruption within the National Assembly, within the executive arm of the government, at the state, at the local government, state and the national level, whatever is determined, unless the issue of corruption is being tackled, we attaining the state of development by using a term of government as a yardstick will remain a mirage in Nigeria.
Burgami, every weekday at 8 a.m., exclusive to the vision of the nation's capital.
Right, good morning once again and welcome to another edition, yet another exciting edition of Burgami Classic Vision FM's flagship current affairs program. And of course, you know what we do here, discuss pressing issues as it arises. And I'm your host for today, Andy Chindaba. And well, as usual, looking into a pressing topic, of course. And well, today we will be examining this particular question. Will Tinubu's cabinet shake-up bring the succor Nigerians yearn for? Will Tinubu's cabinet shake-up bring the succor Nigerians yearn for? Well, let's just set the stage and see. Bayo Nanuga, Special Advisor to President Bola Tinubu on Information and Strategy, has revealed that the sack of some ministers was based on Nigeria's scorecard and empirical facts. He also relayed the role the Special Advisor to the President on Policy and Coordination, Hadiza Bala Usman, played in the minister's dismissal from the cabinet. Tinubu had on Wednesday relieved Barrister Uju Ken Ohaniye, former Minister of Women Affairs, Lola Dejon, his counterparts, Ministry of Tourism, Professor Tahir Muhammad Sam, who headed the Education Ministry, Abdullahi Muhammad Gurzu, Minister of State for Housing and Urban Development, and Dr. Jamila Bio Ibrahim, previously the Minister of Youth Development of their portfolios. The President's action climaxed weeks of speculation and the imminent rejig that heightened after his return from France at the end of his vacation. In a TV interview, Onanuga said Tinubu acted on Nigeria's perception. According to him, Bala Usman was assigned to oversee a performance appraisal which involved gathering public feedback on the minister's work. The presidential aide further defended Tinubu's decision to appoint 7 new ministers to his cabinet. He said the Nigerian government needs a lot of hands to tackle the problem that the country is facing, and said, when the ministers, we quote, when the ministers were sworn in, the president actually told them that, as the president, he has the power to hire and fire, and that he would not hesitate to remove ministers who could not perform. There was a retreat in October last year where he also repeated the same warning about his plan to always try to rejig his cabinet in case some are not performing well. It was not just something that was done whimsically. I think Hadiza Bala Usman, Special Advisor on Policy and Coordination, in fact, brought technology into it by asking Nigerians to score the minister. So, whoever was removed was based on some empirical facts and their public perception. Nigerians actually did the scorecard, and the president acted on the results. Unquote. Onanuga added that the dismissals did not necessarily mean that the ministers were not meeting Tinubu's expectations. Meanwhile, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has requested the Senate to confirm his new ministerial nominees. The request was contained in a letter read by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, on Thursday during plenary. Recall that President Tinubu had on Wednesday reshuffled his cabinet by sacking 6 ministers and naming 7 others. The President also swapped the portfolios of 10 other ministers. The ministerial nominees, as contained in the letter, are Dr. Nentawe Yelwada, Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction; Muhammadu Maigari Bengyadi, Labor and Employment; Bianca Odinaka Odumegu Ojukwu, Foreign Affairs State. Others are Dr. Jumoke Oduole, Industry, Trade and Development; Idi Mukhtar Maiha, Livestock Development; Yusuf Abdullahi Atta, Housing State; and Dr. Zuwaiba Saeed Ahmed, Education State. Well, as usual, I will be joined by my, usual guest in the studio, Mohammed Pantami, who's a public affairs analyst and the acting secretary of the Ariwa Youth Network for Best Society. Yeah, he'll be joining us hopefully as we go on the show to dissect this issue. And so, as we await our guests, I think we're going to be looking at some, implications and, we'll look at the new appointments carefully. You heard from that background, that overview. Let's take a closer look at the new faces in the cabinet. The newly appointed ministers, like I said, included Dr. Nentawe Yelwada, Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction; Muhammadu Maigari Bengyadi, Labor and Employment; Bianca Odinaka Odumegu Ojukwu, Foreign Affairs State; and Dr. Jumoke Oduole, Industry, Trade and Development; Idi Mukhtar Maiha, Livestock Development; Yusuf Abdullahi Atta, Housing State; and Dr. Suwaiba Saeed Ahmed, Education State. These people have actually had impact in Nigeria's socio-political sector. And I believe the reason why Mr. President is pushing them as nominees. And what about you? Have you heard of any of these top officials? All right, if you have heard of them and you know a bit about them, well, what do you think? Are they good, well-deserved nominees as they need be? Will they take up better and do better work than the ones that were already there? These are questions that we'll pose to you out there as we open the lines. I will do that in a bit. Stay with us. right, I think we got callers calling in. All right, hello, good morning. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, and how are you?
My name is Sajid Mohammed. I'm calling from Taiwan at the moment.
Okay, Sagir Mohammed, you're welcome. Good morning.
Yeah, thank you very much. The long-awaited ministerial performance has taken place. I congratulate the newly appointed, yet to be confirmed by the Senate. And then I wish they have gone process in their endeavor, at the end they are little bit, the best is not enough anyway. The expectation, just like the spokesperson to the presidency, they said they got information from the queue. If it's really the information from the queue, then some other ministers who are still in their various positions didn't have the assurance. Yes, I wouldn't want to mention them, but they know themselves, and Nigeria knows them. But in all, let's hope that the intention is good faith and for the benefit of Nigeria. The newcomers should learn from the perception and then the challenge Nigeria is facing at the moment. Not just come, get a minister and then be on the convoy, move around, start coming up with innovative ideas on how to move their various assignments forward.
Okay.
So all of them should be up and doing. That is more important to us. What Nigeria needs at the moment is proper leadership solution to challenge that time. So that's just what Nigeria needs. Nigeria doesn't want anything apart from solution to the problem. And then the president will also appreciate if we can actually look into the cost of living by the masses as well. Thank you very much.
All right, are you there, Sagir?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Okay. You said the Nigerians know these officials. So can we expect these ministers now to perform some sort of magic to get Nigeria back on track? Do you believe they are the right fit for their roles?
The only magic is simple. It's just for you to provide leadership. They should learn from the governor, the minister of justice, for example. They should learn from the minister of internal affairs, for example. These guys brought on board innovation, practical approach to governance. And Nigeria is not complaining about them much. You understand? If you look at what UK is doing in Abuja, it came up with innovation. It was very practical. The same thing to the Minister of Internal Affairs. You understand? Nigeria has been crying about the issue of how to get passport and challenge the immigration and all of that. This guy came on board and tackled it. And so many other things that he's doing in the ministry. And some other few ones. For example, like the Minister of Information. He's a very humble person. I like the way he approached issues. He's not arrogant like others. And some other few ones. Like just yesterday or the day before yesterday, the Minister of Defense gave the directive that the leader of bandits should be arrested, dead or alive. Of course, they are written up, and we hope that can actually be realistic. You understand? We hope so. So few of them are actually doing their best, and it is coming, including those who have been left behind, to learn from some of these few names I mentioned. Governance is not a rocket science. It's a very simple thing. You have to develop the knowledge, you understand, and come up with innovative ideas. Present it before the Federal Executive Council, and people will support it. And that is why we have advocated for practical leadership over the years. For example, a person like Hero 5 is in this government. A person like Fashola is in this government. They will give the government some semblance of maturity. Just like what we can go and do. You see that fighting, the practical fighting in governance will be very open for the masses to see. You understand? Like the Minister of Power, what is he really doing? What is he still doing there? You understand? So we have a lot of them like that. So I think those who have been left behind and those who are coming on board to be able to learn from this. I hope they are listening to us. I'm very practical with what I'm saying.
Well, but sure,
it's a very honest. Yeah, this is a very honest view of a lot of masses as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sagir. I'm sure a lot of them are listening. Yeah. Thank you. All right, for your views.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice day. All right.
Have a nice weekend.
All right. Hello?
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Presenter.
Yes, good morning, and how are you?
I'm fine. This is Abubakar Mohammed from Apo.
Okay, Abubakar, you're welcome, Abubakar Mohammed.
Now, talking about cabinet reshuffling and replacement of some ministers.
Yes.
It is purely the prerogative of Mr. President. It is not about the opinion of Nigerians. Mr. President has the right to appoint whoever he wishes, and whoever he thinks is performing, he retains, and he has the prerogative to remove whoever he wants to replace, and that is exactly what happened. We, the citizens, if it is about perception, like the last caller have said, we have perception about some people that are supposed to go, and yet they are retained. And so, that means it is not our opinion. However, we wish those who have served well and gone, and for those who remain, we wish they are going to do more to perform the task that has been assigned to their offices. What is important is getting Nigeria out of the wood. Politicians will always be politicians, and they will always reward politicians, and that is exactly what is happening. Thank you, and God bless Nigeria.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. That was Abubakar Mohammed from Apple. And what about you? What is your own perception this morning? Yes, this shake-up, will it change, cabinet shake-up, will it change the situation in Nigeria? That is what we are posing today as a question to you out there. All right, just like you heard Abubakar there and Sagir, well, there seems to be a lack of direct feedback collection, people's perception. And, well, they said the government declared that these are people's feedback, but at the same time, people are saying, from where? How? There is a lack of direct feedback collection. Directly, what we mean by directly, of course, you know, polls should have come closer to the people. So, do you think the president met the people's expectations with the number of ministers he sacked, or are there still more that should have been shown the door? Call 0916770956 Hello and good morning.
Hello, good morning, Andy.
Morning, and how are you doing?
I'm fine.
All right. Who's on the line?
My name is
My name is Oga Gabriel.
Okay, Oga Gabriel. You're welcome. Okay, thank you. Yes.
You asked whether the cabinet replacement will bring succor to Nigerians.
Yes, that's our question.
I would say I'm doubting the ability to bring succor to Nigerians because our people say when the head of the fish is decayed, the whole body is decayed. When the president himself, who is the head of government, cannot bring succor to Nigeria over 1 year into his government, I don't think that the people he will appoint as minister can bring that succor to Nigeria. Apart from the few of them, like Wiki, who is touching here and there in Abuja, just to pave way for him for his second term or something like that, or his political ambition, future political ambition, which I know very well that is what he's doing in Abuja. I think other persons are not doing enough because even if they are appointed to put in their expertise, I think they are answerable to the president in every of their assignments, in every of their of what they are going to do. You understand me? They are answerable to the president, and it is what the president approves that they will do. They cannot do anything outside what the president asks them to do. That is what I believe. The minister cannot just stay on his or her own and say, I want to do so thing, and he just carry it out like that. It has to be approved by the minister and the other policy makers of the government. So I think, except if the president himself change and try and bring succor to Nigeria, I think the ministers will not be able to do anything to bring the desired succor to Nigeria, even if they are experts in their various fields. You cannot do anything outside the government, even if you are an expert. And so I think, like one of the callers said, they are appointed by the minister, by the president. They are appointed by the president, and it is like, to me, it is only the people that help the president to win this election, or relatives of the persons that make the president to win the election, that is compensating them with the position of the minister. So I think they cannot do anything differently from what the president is doing. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Oga Gabriel. There. All right. That is his perspective. He said when the head of the fish is decayed, the whole body follows. Well, in the course of our talks right here, our guest has walked into the studio. We told you that hopefully he will join us definitely on the program this morning, of course. And he's here in the person of Muhammad Pantami. He's a public affairs analyst as well as acting secretary, Arewa Youth Network for Best Society. You're welcome, Mr. Pantami.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right. And, we've been yearning to ask this question, and the callers out there have been bringing out their perception. But let's also put it across to you. So, our callers, you just wait a moment. Let's talk to the guests in the studios, and we'll get back to you once again. Will Tinubu's cabinet shake up, bring the succor Nigerians yearn for?
Well, to some extent, frankly speaking, the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it came with a lot of policies ranging from subsidy removal to increase in tax to issue of minimum salary, minimum wage, and so on. But the bottom line is, as it is today, no matter what the economists, or no matter what the government will say, what the citizens are feeling in their bellies, what they are feeling in their pockets, is what they can explain. And mind us, the people in government, they are not the most knowledgeable people. Because what the government has been saying all the time, that they are working on providing solution. And in one way or the other, they are saying this is a transition time from the time they are repairing or bringing in better policies for better economic development. But at the same time, the rate of inflation, the rate of unemployment, the rate of poverty, the devaluation of Naira has increased so much to the extent that a lot of citizens cannot bear it. And because of this hardship, a lot of crimes, the rate of crimes has increased. We are not talking about banditry, Boko Haram, and so on. We are talking about young people that don't have what to eat, that don't have jobs, pickpockets, they can boggle into people's houses, so many issues. It is not as if it was not happening before President Tinubu's government. But the way it is now, somebody can boggle into somebody's house because he is hungry. People are begging on the road, begging for money to eat. People are begging. People usually even come out to beg on the roads, telling you that they need transport. Meanwhile, they are looking for money to gather and buy food for their children. This is because the rate of employment is too high and the minimum wage is too low when you compare it with the economic reality in our society. But the changing of ministers, well, if the president has absolute right to choose the ministers. Why? Because the constitution gives him right to, that he must select at least a minister from each state. So, and the constitution did not stipulate that it must be Mr. A or Mr. B, or you must be from my political party or from whatever. So, Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in his own wisdom, of which Nigerians are yet to recognize the positivity of his wisdom in the economic policies. But the point is, in his own wisdom, he sees that these ministers that he removed and replaced, they are not doing well to showcase the positivity of his wisdom, of his plan, of the way he feels Nigeria should be in his capacity as the president. So if he has done that, we Nigerians don't have problem with is Mr. A or Mr. B, or who is going to be minister of so and so. What we need is good economy, good policies, good minimum wage, low inflation or even zero inflation, high productivity. If he sees the need that if he change these ministers, maybe the value of Naira will not depreciate again, or the value of Naira will become like 1 Naira, $1, it's possible. Some people think it's not possible. Or 1 Naira, or 10 Naira, $1, whatsoever. But in a way and manner that Nigerians will not be facing hardship. If he feels he can do it with these new ministers, so be it. We are in support. But we are not in support of anything that will increase hardship, unemployment, inflation, chaos in the economy, chaos in the society. We are not in support of that.
So does it matter if the president met people's expectation in the number of ministers sacked? Are there more to show the way out?
Well, the number of ministers, they created a new Ministry of Livestock Development. Of course, the president has the right to appoint a minister in that ministry.
Oh, and then those ones that have been shown the way out, should there be more to be taken out?
Of course, some of them, some of the policies, some of the ministers brought, a lot of Nigerians complain. If care is not taken, if you check, a lot of civil societies has written against some ministers based on the certain policies that they have brought that are not welcoming to the reality in our society. Be you a minister, whether you are a professor, a PhD holder, even a secondary school can be a minister. Somebody who is a professor may do worse, and a secondary school holder can do better. It depends on the political will and high level of patriotism of the individual. In most cases, why the Constitution allows that even as low certificate as secondary school graduate can be a minister, can be a president, because the quantum of knowledge acquired at that level, if the person knows what he is doing, he can do well administratively. So, some of the ministers that brought certain policies, it what cost them their seats. A lot of Nigerians will speak and will write against it, and before you know, if the president did not act, it will have a political implication.
Okay, all right. Anyway, we're going back to the callers again. One of the callers actually, maybe later we'll talk about that. Yes. One of the callers actually made mention Oga Gabriel and said he made an assumption the president is probably bringing out nominees of people who supported him during his time of campaign and all. Well, I think we'll come to that. But the line's open for you once again. Let's have 20 minutes of your time, and let's get back to the studio here. All right, hello, good morning.
Good morning, my name is Tahir Aminu.
Okay, Tahir?
Tahir Aminu.
Okay, Tahir. All right, Tahir, how are you? Okay, you're calling from?
I'm calling from Central area.
Okay, Central area. All right. You're welcome.
Yeah. So, our guest in the studio, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Tahir. I really appreciate.
Okay, so my contribution on today's topic goes this way. I believe from the onset, Mr. President got it right. Wrong, sorry.
Okay.
And when you are building a team, and then you put sentiment, you put politics, and you put so many other negative factors into building a team, then the foundation is wrong. And that was what happened with Mr. President. If you look at the caliber of people Mr. President appointed as ministers, you could tell that they are basically compensation. And then now everybody is crying foul. Look at the number of ministers that he removed. There are other ministers that are ought to be removed. However, they won't be removed. When is he waiting to remove them? Is it when he's close to election? Then he remove them and compensate other people that participated in ensuring that he became victorious. So there are so many things. For example, there are other, like I said, other ministries.
Yes.
To remove them, but he did not do anything about them. For example, let's take the oil and gas sector.
Okay.
The oil and gas sector, I think this is one of the times where it has been undergoing so many reforms, and Mr. President caused a lot of problems by dividing the ministry into two, having oil separate, having gas separate, which are, from my own perspective, I feel that was a wrong move. It would have been better we had left it as just one ministry, just like the previous government. At least that will reduce cost of government. And so many of them, we are having series of grid collapse and all of that. But then, highest here is okay, we are working on it. tariff on electricity has been raised. So the cabinet shake-off did not hit people the way it's supposed to, because there are some prominent names that they're supposed to remove. For example, look at we in the north, or we are from the north. We've been battling with insecurity, and then you felt the best people that are supposed to be ministers are a minister that is one of the ministers that in the state has been ravaged with banditry, or is it another minister that did woefully in the state, and you took those people to give them security, and when you are doing shake-up, you do not do anything like that. So I think Mr. President is actually mocking Nigeria with his cabinet shake-up. So if he truly wants positive changes, he is supposed to let go a lot of them. Some of them are in the wrong ministry. Take them to other places. And this is my problem with appointing politicians as ministers. The only thing most of those politicians are after is how to make money, who will succeed them, who will become governor. But some of them are already ministers. What they are doing is how they will gather money against 2027 election. So that all those compensations will really not add any value to Nigeria. So Mr. President needs to go back and sit down. It's either, as he said, I want this job, people have given me this job, and I'm going to work. But as it is, he has gotten the job, but he's allowing his 2027 ambition to get into the way. He must be ruthless in terms of sacking of people, and he must be very intentional in appointing in appointment. So I think Mr. President needs to go back and sit down and remove any form of thinking of 2027 and appoint people that they have credible people in Nigeria, that they are not politicians, people that can move this country forward. Those are the kind of people that need to be appointed, not people that are appointed based on compensation. So this cabinet shake-off is not going to do anything to us at all. There will not be any positive change. However, just for a few minutes, and then that's what people are forgotten what happened. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tahir. All right. Okay. Tahir there, going along with what Olga too earlier said, agree that, this is all about political compensation rather than merit. Do you agree with that? The phone lines are open 0916-770-9564. More ministers should be shown the way out, says Tahir. All right. Okay, let's have your calls coming in. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, and how are you?
Alhamdulillah.
All right, you're welcome. This is Burgami Classic. We're doing fine. Yes.
Yeah, my name is Izwagbe Ibrahim.
Okay, Izwagbe Ibrahim. Thank you very much. Long time.
Yeah.
Okay. Izwagbe Ibrahim.
I call from Galadima district. Good morning, the guest in studio.
Good morning, sir. You are highly welcome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well done.
All right.
Number one, the shake-up in the cabinet of President Ahmed Tinubu. 1 year, I think 1 year and some months into his administration, is a clear departure from what we saw in the last era of President Muhammadu Buhari, who appointed ministers, and those ministers were sure of their positions for 8 good years. What we are seeing now happen in less than 2 years for a shake-up goes to show that the man who is at the saddle knows exactly what he wants. Of course, we know the policy he has put in place has brought a lot of pain to Nigerians, and most definitely he has a sense of direction, what he wants. For that, I think all those who are lucky to have been retained now, and those who are coming on board will now realize that it is no business as usual, and of course it is expected that they will sit up to ensure that they deliver on whatever mandate they have been given. Going beyond that, I want to say that the change of guard alone will not do the magic. It should be followed with empirical move to change the narrative. For instance, I wonder why we have a Ministry of Agriculture who are mere policy makers and never get involved in agriculture. Look at the vast expanse of land in this country, untilled, uncultivated. What stops the government from getting involved in agriculture directly, allocating portions of land to farmers who will now tend to this land, and then ensure that there's bumper harvest. If we are expecting a fall in the price of food items in the market, the only magic is for government to get practically involved and cultivate the soil, put money into the sector, and do practically get involved in agriculture. Not waiting for that man who is using his traditional hoe and cutlass to weed and till the soil. At the end of the day, after paying so much for fertilizer and so on and so forth, you expect that you should bring down its prices when there's a high level of inflation in the system. These are some of the ways of tackling these problems we are facing now. And then we have seen the president created a ministry for regional development, and now headed by Burgami, who was the minister of the Niger Delta. It goes to show that government at the center wants to get involved in interventions with the state, local government, and of course from a regional perspective. I think it's a welcome development. Let us see how it goes. That's my contribution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Iswagbe. Thank you very much. All right. That was Iswagbe Ibrahim, calling from Galadima. All right. And you heard his perspective. What about yours? Yes, he has a lot to say. Yeah, the ministers should know that there are high expectations from Nigeria, from them, and not just business as usual. And he really actually talked about putting money into agriculture. I think those ones that are involved should rather think about that. Idi Mukhtar Maiha is going to be heading the livestock development ministry, and of course he should look into that too. And let's give another chance for another caller, and we'll get right back. Hello and good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, how are you? Morning.
How are we?
Fine, thank you. Who's on the line?
My name is Benga from Wuse. I just joined you now. What are we discussing?
Okay, Benga from Lube, right?
Wuse.
Okay, Wuse. All right, sorry. All right. It's a topic that of what happened just recently is the cabinet shake-up. So we're asking, will Tinubu's cabinet shake-up bring the succor Nigerians yearn for? Did you get that?
I get that.
Okay, all right.
Let me tell you something. Anything Nigeria I want to hear today is to hear the price of oil is 200 naira. Anything Nigeria I want to hear today, the dollar is 500 naira. In fact, you will see carnival on the streets. There cannot be. You want to face the reality. Because we talk of succor. If Nigeria still says fuel is 1,000 naira, there's nothing you can do as a minister. In fact, some of them are appointed that the presidency will the minister of petroleum, and they still keep the Kobori there as minister of state. To them is that they have not performed. As far as fuel is 100 naira per liter, 1,200 naira per liter. And I'm saying no, you don't judge like that. Because what Nigeria wants, well, always gauge the performance of the government is that I go to market, that's already 50,000 or 30,000. He has done well. Even for our roads are not working. And that was what PDP used to defeat Nigeria for 16 years. During the bumper harvest, bumper of petrol, when we are having 2.2 million naira per barrel, and we had average of $140 per barrel. I'm telling you, we have a lot of money. But they were stealing it and using it to subsidize rice. We are buying rice 8,000 naira, so that's everything, importation, everything importation. And we filter away those hard currency of that time. We filter our foreign reserve. And that time, everyone was trying to this foreign reserve you are dipping money into. The incoming government was difficult to run the government. And eventually it came to pass that when Buhari was coming, that there was a recession. That fuel dropped from $100 per barrel to $27 per barrel. And we can only produce 800,000 liters. It's not what 2.2 are producing Jonathan and Obasanjo. And that brought the recession to Nigeria. We got out of it around 2017. What am I saying? Is that if we want to judge the government for performance because of price of food in the market, we will be missing it. Like in petroleum industry now, nobody will see that anything has been done. Because the price of petrol is 4,000 naira, 4,002. Then a lot has been done because when Tinubu took over, we were only producing about 800,000 barrels per day. The highest was about 1 million barrels per day. But now they have increased it to 1.5 million barrels per day. And by that, we are able to save enough foreign currency. And by that, we are able to pay all the foreign liability we have. About $7 billion that will not be paid. That makes people, they come like every day to leave Nigeria. But because they are paying all those ones, they're back in Nigeria, and more investors are coming to Nigeria. So what I'm saying is that the floating of naira and increment in our food oil company has really helped Nigeria. But because you are not transferred to 30,000 to the food in the market to become cheaper, nobody will appreciate what the government have done. So what I'm saying is that if you want to judge the military performance by the price of fuel, by the price of food in the market, I'm telling you, Nigeria will not see anything they have done. But it will take a long time because those things can be amended because the level of loss and decay in our economy is so humongous that a leader cannot come here and just press a button and you see everything coming down. One of the callers talk about agriculture.
Yes.
No one about the minister. What about the commissioner, the state government? The state government owns the land and the people, the farmers, they are under their control. If they don't do anything commensurate to support the government policy on agriculture, I'm telling you, price of food will still go high next year. Because the plots that wash away the farm, are the government, the state government to control the plot. No, they don't do that. This security is in the locality. Our army and police are overstretched. Why can't they give them vigilante like they do in the southwest? They have Moteco. Why can't the whole northwest, the whole north center have their own security body like that? The way it was working in the southwest and they're able to pursue the kidnapper and the bandits, why can't they do that? So our farmer can go to the farm and farm. So if we don't do that, I'm telling you the price of food will still increase. So the government needs to really wake up and support agriculture with machinery, with fertilizer, with seedling, and also give them agri extension workers who will educate the farmer how to apply fertilizer, how to use all the chemical at the right time at the right place so that they can have bumper harvest. In Nigeria today, we are still going to see farmers. And it will not be to feed 200 million flocks. We will have all year-round farming in the north and the south. In Sokoto now, everywhere dry, no more rain. People are not farming in Sokoto now. And in the north now. By people, all the northern Sahara, they are not farming, it should not be. Irrigation, this thing what the Senegal can do. Irrigation, all year-round farming, you can see yourself as expert. So I'm saying that to judge the minister by the price of goods you buy in the market will not be fair for the minister. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Benga. Once again, a very good contribution from Benga there. Benga, of course, is pro-government. All right, it's still on to Vision 92.1 FM and Burgami Classic this morning. And let's take a break from the callers and get back to the resource person who is in the studio right now, Mohammed Pantami. Mohammed Pantami, yes, you listen to what all the callers have brought in and laid on the table here for us.
Of course.
Sagir, Abubakar, Oga, Tahir, Izwagbe, Ibrahim, and Benga. So, what actually have you brought out of their views, and can the new ministers now perform magic in getting Nigeria back on track?
Well, the cumulative summary I observed from what they have said is the president should be objective in making selection. Like when Mr. Tahir was talking, he was making comments that some of the ministers are just mere political boys of the president. Meanwhile, you may have somebody who is in politics, who is patriotic, and he has contributed to the success of the president becoming a president.
Okay.
If the president compensates such a person and he do well, no problem. But if somebody who is in politics is being compensated, like the way Mr. Tahir was saying, and their interest is just to make money to contest for other positions or to vie for seek for appointment in other offices, that is not what Nigerians want. So from what the callers are trying to say is that ministers should be appointed objectively. Agriculture, no matter how the government will talk, no matter what the government will say, no matter the grammar, all the people that are in government, whatever course you have read, if care is not taken, most of you, the professors that taught you that course, they are still alive. And most likely, maybe you are not a professor in that field. Even if you are a professor, you don't have monopoly of knowledge. So you should not think whatever policy you bring is the best. People have the right to criticize unfriendly policies, policies that may bring hardship to Nigerians. People have the right to come out and say, we like this and we don't like this. If government feels if people in government feels they are knowledgeable, they are more millions times more knowledgeable people than they are. And a lot of them, when they see policies that are not good, they do come out and talk. Even if you are a professor of economics, there are senior professors ahead of you, and you are telling us to wait for a certain number of years. What most of our callers are saying is, government should look for should be proactive, should look for immediate solution to the hardship, to the rate of inflation, devaluation of naira that is making the citizens having it absolutely uneasy to survive. If government did not do that, a lot of challenges are there. And before you know, I always say it, if people are not happy, if there is hardship, if the economy is not flowing well, it usually has political implication. Why we have to tell politicians this is, they will think you don't like them or you don't like their party. It's not about you, it's not about your party, it's not about your appearance, it's about how Nigerians feel while you are in charge, while you are in position of authority. That's what determines, that's what makes people to love you, what makes people to like you or your party or whatever you are saying. But no matter the grammar, the sweet words you are making, when Nigerians are not feeling well, the economy is not is in a bad shape, Nigerians will not hear you. If you go and even talk to them, they stun you with pure water. It has happened in this country.
Yes. All right. Looking at the list of nominees, Dr. Nentawi Yilwada, Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. Now check out that portfolio. Dr. Yulwada is a professor of computer engineering and an accomplished academic and administrator, and recently contested for the governorship of Plateau State under the APC and has served to be a resident electoral commissioner of INEC in Benue State from 2017 to 2021. Muhammadu Muigari, the Gadi, the Labour and Employment. The Gadi is a former Minister of Police Affairs under President Muhammadu Buhari and has a long history of public service, including roles in the Sokoto State Ministries of Education and Water Resources, and as a secretary to the Sokoto State government. Bianca Odinaka Odumegu Ojukwu, Foreign Affairs State. Bianca Odumegu is a former Nigerian ambassador to Spain and a prominent political figure. Remember, the wife of Mr. Emeka Ojukwu, the general, and of course has been involved in various diplomatic and political roles, contributing to Nigeria's foreign relations. And Dr. Jumoke Duole, Industry, Trade and Development, is a Senior Special Assistant to the President on Industry, Trade and Investment. And she has played a significant role in policy planning and development strategies aimed at boosting Nigeria's trade and industrial sectors. I think that has it runs true to type: industry, trade and development. Our Idi Mukhtar Maiha, livestock development, has been involved in agricultural development, particularly the livestock sector. Its work focuses on improving livestock management. That also tallies, I believe. Yusuf Abdullahi Atta, Housing State. Atta has experience in housing and urban development. That's a good one too. And Dr. Suwaiba Saeed Ahmed, Education State. Dr. Ahmed is a trained educationist and gender advocate. She is a lecturer at Bayero University, Kano, and the director of the Center for Gender Studies. I think that goes on well. So, do you think, lastly, before we wrap up, my last question is, how soon should Nigerians expect the next cabinet shake-up?
Well, even within 1 year. Why? Because there should be ministerial inspection, inspecting ministries, departments, and agencies of government. It should be annually, and it should be made objectively. If the ministers, the head of departments, the head of agencies, they know that there is monitoring and evaluation of whatever they are doing periodically, at most 1 year.
Okay.
So anybody that did not perform well, he should be asked to bow out. Why? Because Nigerians will not be taking Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his political friends will not want a negative political implication towards them. Well, this is more than 1 year. Election is coming. So, based on what you deliver, in most cases, to great extent, is what will determine your success in subsequent elections. So, Mr. President and other APC politicians should take note.
Okay, thank you very much. And as we await the impact of these changes, it's very important for both the ministers and the president to prioritize transparency and accountability, to regain, from all indications, the discussions we had with the guests in the studios and the callers, to regain public trust and, of course, foster national development. Thank you, Mohammed Pantami. And as you know, Mohammed is a public affairs analyst, acting secretary, Ariwa Youth Network for Best Society. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
All right, and you out there, callers, thank you very much, and continue the discussions in your community. Thank you. My name is Andy Chindaba, and thank you, Baba Tunde Ayeni, for this fantastic and timely subject. Do have yourself a wonderful day from Vision 92.1 FM. Bye-bye.